Today, we are going to talk about overcoming many of the challenges that are keeping people from financial freedom. If you think to yourself, I feel like I'm doing everything right and somehow I still feel behind, or you say to yourself, I know I'm not reckless and I know I'm not irresponsible, but somehow I still feel like I'm losing, or it might be I'm really trying and yet I have this lingering anxiety. Like no matter what I do, I need to do more. If this sounds familiar, this episode is for people like you and anyone else who's just treading water or somehow missing out. Most people want to do the right things, but what are the right things? The problem that we face is that it's not that we're unable, it's that we need clarity because there's all this noise out there. Think about the world that we live in right now. Everybody's an expert. Everybody has an opinion. And everybody is telling you what you should be doing with your life and your money. And the weird thing is that what you should be doing with your money and your life is usually presented by somebody who doesn't even know you with complete confidence, as if your life is identical to everybody else's, as if your virtues don't matter. Remember, we covered virtues in our last episode. Virtues are more powerful than values. They are what you do. They are who you are, not what you say, not as things change in life, what's more important to you. But virtues are those building blocks that make you you. Your virtues are different than other people's virtues. You might find other people with similar virtues, but that's a deciding factor that makes you different than others. Timing, temperament, family, stress, health, your goals, those are relevant. People are going to pretend those are not relevant. You just get grouped in with everybody else. We talked about effort in our last episode, discipline, consistency. Those are differing factors. Those make you different than other people. So how do you know when all these experts are talking to you that their advice even applies to you? Or you're on social media and you're scrolling and all of a sudden everything's telling you the same thing. It's an echo chamber. How do you know you're even in the right echo chamber? How do you know if those people that are talking to you understand your situation? Most of them don't. They don't care. Or you might have had an event or something in life similar to something that happened to them, but that doesn't make it the same thing. There could be circumstances. There's a causation versus a correlation. You could have correlation with somebody, but not the same causation, which then makes you dramatically different. How do you know that the person that you're listening to or the source that you're getting information from is even qualified to give you personal advice or guidance? How do you know they're not a psychopath? How do you know they don't have some kind of preconceived notion of where they want to take you because they are manipulating you in some way so that they can make some money off of you? How do you know if they're down along that line? How do you know if they're financially, emotionally conflicted? In a lot of forums, they don't have to tell you that, but they can present things as fact that have no basis in reality. There are people out there that are very, very well skilled in making you feel a certain way or think a certain way in an effort for their own benefit, whether it's to become famous, to get more likes, to get more followers, to become an influencer, to run for political office, whatever it might be. To make money. Just think about it like that. Not everybody out there is virtuous. A lot of advice out there is just to get your attention. But it's not good advice. It's generic. Maybe the most dangerous type. How do you know when somebody's talking to you and they have great confidence? It could be a friend, a teacher, a classmate, a neighbor, a relative. But they have great confidence on a topic. Maybe they even have a background on the topic, but they're wrong. How do you know when they're wrong? If you shut down all the other avenues of information, you only have this one way to get information into your head. How do you know when that way is wrong? How do you swim against the tide? How do you avoid panicking or having your own kind of self-crisis or self-conscious crisis? How do you avoid that? Because that's what it is. If you figure out, oh my gosh, I've got this wrong opinion on something and I've built all this other identity on top of that and I remove that one block, it crumbles my identity. Now what happens? You have to be a brave person. It's challenging. Today we are going to talk about how to reclaim your control and where your control actually exists, and how to stop exhausting yourself, battling the things that you cannot control. We're going to do this through the lens of $2. So we're actually going to give you some more brain food, maybe some books to read. But the books have a surprisingly complementary message. So we're going to go through each book individually, the message that I want to take out of each one. Then we're going to put them together and show you how they actually work in real life. One of the books, and you've probably read it, probably at least one of these books. Hopefully you've read them. If not, this will maybe be inspiring to go get them. But one of them is modern. One of them is very ancient. It's been around a very long time. But they're both really relevant, I think, when we talk about personal finance. So by the end of this episode, again, I think that you're going to feel calmer, clearer, and a lot more confident with the decisions or maybe the decision-making process that you use, even when the world around you feels like it's at its most chaotic point. So the first book is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And this book is the ancient one, obviously. Marcus Aurelius, if you can't tell by the name, is very, very old. He was a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. The book was written 2,000 years ago or so. But it is a great read. I've talked to lots of people who read it who say, I can't read it because the way it's written, blah, blah, blah. You know, sometimes to learn, you have to do things that are uncomfortable, like read a book that's written in a way that's not as dramatic as something else you might want to read. But one of the lessons from the book, and the one that I want to focus on, is I call it the Onion Man story. And it's not necessarily, for most people that I've talked to, not a huge takeaway that they have. For me, it was a very big takeaway. And the idea is this, that something can be extremely unpleasant, but it doesn't make it wrong. And our irritation with that unpleasant thing actually doesn't come from something being wrong. The irritation comes from the judgment that we add to it. So something can be wrong. We get frustrated about being wrong because we have a judgment about why is that thing wrong and what should be done about it. From Marcus's perspective, nature produces inconveniences, and he talks about nature a lot. So I'm using a little bit of his terminology, but nature produces inconveniences. But then we add anger or frustration, which literally does nothing to the reality of the inconvenience itself. So it's going to rain outside, and you were going to go for a run. Now you can't go for a run. If you get angry or frustrated because you can't go for a run, it does absolutely nothing to change the fact that it's going to rain, and does absolutely nothing to change the fact that if it rains and you can't run today. You have to do something else. The only difference is your body is going to react very differently, and you're going to take on the stress and all the frustration that comes with anger. So in the book, Marcus is saying if someone smells like, so back to the onion story in the book, if someone smells like onions, you just tell them once, hey, you smell like onions. You've done your part. If they continue to smell like onions, that's no longer your problem. You don't need to carry it emotionally anymore. You don't need to fix the situation. In fact, whenever in our household, whenever something comes up and we're frustrated with something, one of the things that comes out is, oh, it's the onion man. That's somebody else's problem, not my problem to fix. Somebody else's problem. I let them know they smell like onions. They still smell like onions. They didn't want to change it. You don't need to save everybody. You don't need to get upset or take it as your personal mission to fix the issue. If they don't want to change, they don't want to change. It's got nothing to do with you. You did your part. You let them know. And you may have even offered to help them. So you let them know, hey, you smell like onions. Is there something I can do to help you? It's now their opportunity to take action. If they do not take action, if you're reacting to it, are experiencing discomfort. You might experience discomfort because it still smells when you're around them. You might feel discomfort because they blew you off. You went over and you told them that they needed to fix their situation. They smelled bad, and you even offered to help. And they blew you off. They don't care what you had to say. There's a lot of reasons why you might be uncomfortable now. But nobody harmed you. Even if the smell of onions makes you sick, nobody harmed you. It's a discomfort. It's not a harm. This distinction between discomfort and harm is critical in personal finance, because we routinely treat discomfort like some kind of world-ending catastrophe. There's always a world-ending catastrophe. You always have to act now because something's happening. And we turn discomfort into harm to get you to act. That's how the industry does it. Let me give you some examples. Market volatility. Danger, danger, danger. Market's going down. Danger. Budgets. That's not fair. You have a budget. It's not fair. You live paycheck to paycheck. That's deprivation. Not fair. You have to save to be able to buy a new house or something like that. That's deprivation. Patience, waiting. You have to wait your turn. Most of our parents, our grandparents, and anybody in their 40s or 50s right now had to wait a long time to buy a really nice house. They started with a starter house. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to start out with a McMansion. Patience is not missing out, but that's how it's framed. If you have to wait, it's not fair. Somehow everybody else's lifestyle, you go online, you see what they're doing, the places they're going, the things that they're doing, their kids, all that kind of stuff. You are the failure. And it works because there's emotional triggers involved with all of these. There's not logical ones. If you were thinking logically, you'd get to where we're going with this episode. Marcus, with all his Stoic wisdom, would ask this very simple question. Okay, this feels bad, but is it actually harmful to me? This feels bad. Pause. Is this actually harmful? The pause matters. You give your brain a second to clear the deck. You give your heartbeat a second to catch up. When you pause and you think, is it actually harmful to me? You actually save yourself from panic selling when the market goes down. Everybody knows they're supposed to sell high and buy low. Yet the vast majority of people sell low and then buy back in when it's high. If you paused, if you got logical, you wouldn't panic sell when the market was going down. You wouldn't abandon long-term plans because of short-term discomfort. You wouldn't jeopardize your future just for today. You'd find a balance. There wouldn't be emotional spending to escape unpleasant feelings. You see this a lot, actually, when somebody loses a loved one, especially in a widow situation. Somebody loses their spouse, they want to go spoil the kids. They spoil the kids because it helps them, it detracts them, they feel like they're making somebody happy, those types of things. Emotional spending is a way to kind of escape those unpleasant feelings, which is really just discomfort. And it's probably discomfort that you need to face, you need to deal with, you need to address so you don't make decisions that you then end up regretting, but you can't turn back the clock. So follow me through a couple more. The market's volatile. Feels uncomfortable. Who likes the market going up and down 5% a day? Well, we like it when it goes up, not when it goes down. Price volatility is not harm. It's buying opportunities. A disciplined budget feels restrictive. Of course it's uncomfortable. Somebody tells you no. What adult likes to be told no? What child likes to be told no? Nobody likes to be told no. A budget tells you no. Not comfortable, not fair. But it might be the very thing that sets you up for financial freedom in the future. Seeing a colleague's new car. Maybe even somebody who makes less money than you. And it stings. That sting is jealousy. And you're thinking, why don't I have a new car? I actually have a new car too. But their new car payment has nothing to do with your personal goals. That new car they're driving around has nothing to do with your personal identity. It might make you feel uncomfortable, might make you feel inferior, but that's discomfort. It's not an injustice. And it's certainly not an emergency. Stop giving discomfort power over you by stop reacting to it. So our second book is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And Mel's core insight is very powerful and very simple. Another insight that comes up in our household a lot when we're kind of dealing with what other people are doing. We have a massive amount of stress in our lives coming from trying to control the things that we can't. We want to control other people's behavior. I don't know why they act like that. Other people's opinions. They should see the way that I see the world. I can't believe that they support that person or that person over there. Whatever their issue is. Other people's decisions. It's a horrible decision. They shouldn't be taking time off of work to go do X, Y, Z. They should be doing this, that, or the other thing, or decisions with their money. I don't know why they're not maxing out their retirement account this year. When it comes to money, it shows up everywhere. Your family has opinions about you and about your money. You have opinions about your family and about their money. Most people do. Not everybody, but most people do. Friends, they have amazing lifestyles. You see these people doing things, and you wish you could. I know people buy all kinds of stuff. They do all kinds of things. Jet skis and boats and campers and second houses and all this other stuff. Amazing lifestyles. There's internet experts. They're yelling at you how you should be living in all caps, what it means to really be alive, what it means to be a good family or a good parent or a good coach or whatever it might be. They're telling you in all caps, basically, that you're inferior. And Mel's principle is this: let them. Let them think what they want. Let them act how they act. Let them choose what they choose. Let them be about them. Because the moment you stop fighting that reality, you unlock the second part of her message, which the first part doesn't really work without the second part. The second part is let me. Let me decide how I respond. Let me choose my boundaries. Let me align my actions with my virtues. And this is where your power lives. Because you cannot control the stock market or the economy. You can't even understand it. Doesn't make any sense. Too complex. You cannot control public opinion or the news. You can't control politics. You can't control other people's spending habits, other people's lifestyles, but you can control your actions. When you combine the two ideas that we're talking about, Marcus Aurelius, the Onion Man, Mel Robbins, the Let Them, Let Me, something very powerful happens. In meditations, we learn to stop labeling discomfort as anger. In Let Them, we learn to stop wasting energy on things we cannot control. Together, they create this simple framework. Focus on controlling what compounds in a positive manner. Your time compounds. What frees up your time? What allows you to address things that are good for you? Your behavior compounds. What are the things that make you stronger, that make you smarter, that get you ahead? That's kind of down along those virtues. Your consistency compounds. How often do you stick to these things? Reaction, especially in a negative way or in a controlling way of things you cannot control, does not compound in a positive manner. It compounds, but in a negative way, in a high stress, in a you're going to have a heart attack early, in a you're going to drive people away, in a you're always going to feel anxious and behind way. That's what reaction, if that's leading your life, does to you. So let's apply this to real life. When the stock market drops, it's unpleasant. We don't like it. I don't like it. I know what it's doing. I know it's opportunity. I still don't like it. It feels unpleasant, though. It's just an unpleasant feeling. Other people, though, they panic. You're watching other people panic? Let them. No big deal what other people are doing. You don't care. Other people sell their stocks. Other people lock in losses. You don't. You don't panic. You know better. Buy low, sell high. You don't sell. You don't lock in losses. Buy low, sell high. You know that. Yet when it happens, most people are panicking. They know that too. They panic. They throw it out the window. They react. You don't. You don't panic. You don't sell. You don't lock in the losses. You rebalance your investments to take advantage of the situation. You stay disciplined. Other people are harmed. They actually get real harm. Not from the event, from their reaction. They did stupid stuff. They got burned. You didn't do stupid stuff. You didn't get burned. You had to be uncomfortable for a little while. I hate to see it down. Once it recovers, though, you benefit. You're not harmed. You know other people panic when things feel unpleasant, and you let them, and you took advantage of the situation. You benefit. Another example, when you want something you can't afford, it just feels bad. Again, back to everybody hates being told no. You can't have it. It feels bad. That other person has it. I can't have it. Why? It's too expensive. Those greedy corporations, too expensive. Those same greedy corporations that are in your 401k, that are in your investment portfolio, those greedy corporations that are selling stuff to make a profit on it, it's not fair. The same corporations that you're going to rely on for retirement, it's not fair. The feeling's not an injustice. Nobody's saying, oh, you specifically can't have this. It might be inconvenience. It might be disappointment. But you are not harmed because you cannot afford something that somebody else has. That's not a harm to you. Other people have a bigger house than you. They have a nicer car. Maybe they even have a collection of nicer cars. They go on more lavish vacations. They post it all over Facebook. You can't miss it. You're constantly reminded that other people are doing cooler stuff than you. But speaking from my personal experience in personal finance, retirement is full of people who once looked extremely successful and now have nothing to show for it. I know tons of people who made lots and lots and lots of money that everybody else would blush to be able to make. And they get to an age later in life and they have nothing to show for it. Stick to your plan. Let your time, your behavior, your consistency do the quiet work of compounding for you so that you can actually have a really bright future. FOMO, let's talk about this for a minute. Fear of missing out. This is toxic. And this is, I don't know, social media, whatever it is, everybody's afraid of missing out. People brag about their wins. And we see with investing, oh, so-and-so bought such and such investment that made so much money. Who gives a damn? That already happened. You missed it. I guarantee that person also doesn't brag about when they bought something and lost all their money on it either. You only see half the equation, but your brain is going to fill in the other half for you. They're going to say, wow, look at them. They're so smart. They bought that thing, made all that money. It's also not going to say, and they bought those 7 things and lost money. All you feel is they must know something magical because you fill in the blanks for yourself because they're not going to fill it in. Somebody's bragging about how good they are. They don't brag about how bad they were. Real life is anything but perfect. It's always messy. It's always unpredictable. Just remember that. Don't be hard on yourself because you missed an opportunity. That's just armchair quarterbacking your own life. And why do you want to treat yourself that way? Why do you want to constantly wake up every day saying, I wish I could have, would have, should have? Successful people do not FOMO. They're not successful because they say yes to everything and they're chasing what everybody else is doing. They're successful because they say no to a lot of stuff. They say, nah, that's for somebody else to do. Let them do that. Let me do this thing over here. Successful people don't care. These little people over there are doing stuff. Let them chase. Let them wander into the chaos themselves. They walk their own path. You can and you should stop worrying about everybody else. And you should find and stay on your path. Let yourself end yearning, wanting, insecurity, peer pressure. Don't accept other people's problems as your own. Let it be theirs. Let them own it. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to change them. Even if you know they're running off a cliff, don't follow them. And it's not your job to grab them and keep them on there. They have their own choices. They have their own personal agency. You can give them an idea, like the Onion Man. You could say, hey, this is where you're headed, just so you know. I think you should be aware. It's not up to you whether or not they heed that advice. Stop stressing about it. It is not realistic either that you're going to feel good about money all the time. That's not how money works. It's not how our psyche works. It's not how we're designed from our DNA. It's not how our society is designed. You're not going to feel good about money all the time. Doesn't matter how much you have. People think, well, if I had more money, I'd feel better. No, you won't. It's not money and having more money makes you feel good. In fact, if your focus is just to accumulate money to make yourself feel good, when you do have more money, you're either always going to feel bad that you don't have more money, or you're going to get there and go, okay, now what am I supposed to feel about? And you're going to be searching for something to actually care about, but you're going to have missed most of your life while you were chasing the money and all the relationships and all the experiences that you could have otherwise had. It's almost never the thing that's causing the reaction that's the problem. It's our reaction to the problem in the first place. I didn't have enough growing up, so now I only focus on money. It's not that you didn't have enough growing up, that's the problem. It's that you're over-focusing on money, that's the problem. I lost money one time on an investment, so now I don't invest at all. It's not that you lost money one time. It's that your reaction to losing money once is to never invest again. Your reactions are the problem, not the actual problems themselves as they exist kind of out there for everybody. So our goal is to recognize discomfort for what it is and stop reacting to it, because the reaction is where the harm lives. We need to stop confusing noise for danger. We need to stop outsourcing our peace of mind. Stop looking for other people for how to react to things. Decide for yourself. Let them do what they're doing. Let me do what I should be doing. The next time something feels uncomfortable, ask yourself, is this unpleasant or is it actually harmful? Almost always it's going to be unpleasant, not harmful. And then ask yourself, okay, what can I do about it? What can I do about it? The next time you feel like you're being pulled by what other people are doing, think, let them do whatever they do. Let me do what is right for me and my situation. You are standing in the doorway to financial freedom. You have the opportunity. Last episode was all about the opportunity. Take advantage of it. You're standing in that doorway. You're looking out. There's financial freedom in front of you. Your financial freedom is about your money and your life. Which way do you want to go? You've been listening to Ditch the Suits. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to follow on your favorite podcast platform for more insights to help you make better financial decisions and get more out of your money and life.